right, Morgan? All right, there we go. We are now recording. So, I'm John Suzanne. I'm with the Olympia Indivisible Research Endorsement Research Team, and we're here today with Krag Unsoeld, who is running for port in District 3. And so we're going to find out a little bit more about Krag. So, Krag, would you like to just take a few minutes to oh, by the way, we have also Morgan Baker from our team and Jacqueline Jacobs also from our team here today too. Um, but anyway, would you like to take a few minutes just to tell us about who you are and why you're running for for the Port Commission District?
Okay, so my name is Krag Unsoeld. I've been a political activist with a special focus on environmental issues for virtually my entire life. And the reason that I am choosing to run for the Port of Olympia is because it is something which is very local and also very misunderstood and generally um, not particularly even known of by people in the community. And yet it is the Port of Olympia is the largest public landowner in Thurston County. Um, it has a big impact on our local environment and especially um, on our marine environment. And so I decided that I have a background where I was for 12 and a half years an environmental planner for Puget Sound Water Quality Action Team. And I worked on developing the comprehensive Puget Sound Water Quality Management Plan, and then also working with local and tribal governments for them to develop local watershed management plans and then to help them implement it. And so, in order to help them implement it, I worked with local and tribal governments to help them get federal and state funding to carry out their water quality protection and enhancement efforts. The big issues facing the Port of Olympia are environmental restoration. The port has not done anything for looking into actually restoring the environment. When we have degraded water bodies, we have the Butt Inlet, which is it is considered a Superfund site at the north end of the Port Peninsula, where the Cascade Pole piled its um, um, creosoted logs for telephone poles and so forth. And um, we should be looking at restoring the resources. There was a time back in 1980 when the annual bird counts that were conducted by what was then known as the Audubon Society would see that there were innumerable species and individuals of various aquatic marine birds. There was also along the shorelines, there was a lot of forage fish. You had sand smelt, and you had herring, and you had um, sand lances, and um, all of that and there was also, because of the forage fish, you had salmon populations, and you also had, that was what the seabirds were eating. Now the nearshore habitat has been decimated. We have the PCBs and the PAHs and other toxic chemicals that are in the area, making it a compromised water body. And that is something that, in order to bring back the food chain, we have to start with the nearshore habitat. And we have to start with the estuaries, not just the Deschutes estuary, but all of the smaller tributaries that the streams that come down into Puget Sound also.
Yeah, we have a lot of work ahead of us, don't we?
Yes, and it's
Well,
something that I want
we
to get started on.
so I'm just surmising that, it's your commitment to environmental rehabilitation that is why you're running, just to sum it up.
It's not just environmental rehabilitation, but it's also public access. That
Mm-hmm.
right now, the port primarily benefits private airplane users through the airport, and yacht owners through the Swantown Marina,
Mm-hmm.
and Weyerhaeuser, which has 24 and a half acres of land, which is used to store and stack their timber before they ship it overseas. And then there's also some businesses and industrial um, renters in property in the at the Tumwater Town Center area. It's now called the Clean Water Center,
Mm-hmm.
spelled and so um, but it doesn't have public access. When the port has done public involvement through developing the master plan for the Port Peninsula and through looking at possible responses to sea level rise, the things which people are overwhelmingly in favor of is making a public park down on the Port Peninsula. This would be something that could be done without building big high buildings, which shouldn't be put in because of sea level rise, and which also shouldn't be put in because of the possibility of an earthquake causing
Yeah.
the liquefaction, they call it, where the ground, which is not solid because it's all fill for the Port Peninsula, turns into liquid, and anything built on it is just going to be destroyed. And so I want to see that we stop the log exports and make a public park that is publicly accessible on the Port Peninsula.
Okay, well, I think that those are great ideas. So you stated in your questionnaire response that you want to make more citizens aware of their connection to the port. You talked a little bit about that. How would you engage the public to increase their awareness of the port? How do we get them to pay attention?
Well, one of the interesting things is that I was just talking with Sarah Montano, who is a port commissioner now,
Right.
and and I did ask her and said, so is there really a port policy that makes it so that there cannot be a actual exchange or dialogue between a port commissioner and public? And she said that there is during the public hearing, I mean, during the public comment period of a port commission meeting. And
Mhm.
that's largely because if they get into an exchange, it might take away time from other people getting a chance to make the comment. But there really needs to be an opportunity for commissioners and the public to dialogue about the kinds of things that are important for the public in terms of port policy development and implementation. And so there needs to be town meetings. There needs to be a lot more outreach to the public where there is regular communications about these are the issues that we're grappling with. These are some of the possibilities. What do you think? This is how it could impact you. What would you advise that we do? And so I really want to see more town meetings and more transparency on the part of the Port Commission and its policy development.
Okay. Um, so just to be clear about your, I think I understand that you would like to see the log operations be closed, but what is your position on the marine terminal? Is that sustainable?
I would say no. And the reason that it's not sustainable is because one, we're going to have the Deschutes estuary restoration. That's going to cause an amazing amount of sedimentation that's going to be occurring in what is now the turning basin for the seaport, um, the turning basin where they have to turn the ships around, and that is going to happen, and that's going to be part of the environmental restoration and recovery efforts in South Puget Sound. Another thing that's going to happen is nearshore habitat restoration. One of the things that in looking at sea level rise, um, there were different options that were presented to the public about what to do on the Park Peninsula. This included building bulkheads or seawalls, doing a living shoreline, or just raising the Port Peninsula even further. And people were overwhelmingly in favor of a living shoreline. So to go with a living shoreline on the Port Peninsula to the restored estuary in the Deschutes River um, is part of, and then doing the habitat, the nearshore habitat restoration along the east shore line of Butt Inlet, and out by the Squatson Tribal Park and so forth, that would be uh, um, part of a much bigger environmental restoration effort that is really important to recover the food chain that is so important for our marine life, all the way up to the orcas, which are the apex predator for
Yeah.
the for Puget Sound.
Okay. You stated also that you wanted to develop opportunities for small business and artisans. Uh, could you explain your views on how that would be involved in the future development of the port?
What that would be is kind of enlarging the farmers market and making it so that it becomes more of a year-round operation, but without building buildings and that are going to be inundated by sea level rise. And this is something that can be done if you look up at it. What is it, Grainville? Is that what it is up in Vancouver, British Columbia? I don't remember the name of it, but they have a place which is near the waterfront, which they have a very vibrant community of local artisans and shops and so forth that um, bring in lots and lots of tourists as well as locals. And so that's something that I would like to see enlarged on
Yeah.
and made more vibrant in the Port of Olympia.
Yeah. Would you want to retain the warehouse and convert that into some kind of indoor, you know,
That
type thing?
that's something that
Yeah.
could be considered since it's already built. It wouldn't be an additional construction, and so
Yeah.
yes, that would be something that we would want to look at the feasibility of doing that.
Okay. We only have about another, maybe 10 minutes max. So
Okay.
I'm gonna just ask a couple more questions and then we'll wrap up. So we talked about that. I would say okay, that what is your opinion about the Panettone South Sound Center, which is the 500,000 square foot warehouse that they're going to build at the New Market Industrial Center? Could you explain what you think about that?
I actually attended a Port Commission meeting and I testified against that lease because I said that there's already ample warehouse space in Thurston County. If you look out on 93rd Avenue near the Hawks Prairie area, there's a lot of empty warehouse space up there. And it just seems to be the thing to build now is warehouses. and they're just not needed. The other thing is that Panettone is banking a lot of fees and impact fees and so forth are being waived, so that they will be paid when all of the tenants will pay for those waived fees as they come flocking in. Well, on the we're at the beginnings of what could become a very devastating economic downturn because of some of the stuff which is going on at the federal level. And so we cannot expect there suddenly to be a lot of people flocking in to fill these warehouse spaces. And so I think that that's a totally dead end road for the port to be taking at this time.
Okay, and then I would like to know what is your position on the proposed airport master plan update within what's known as the AMPU that's
The the
currently in
the
court.
airport master plan update is something which I am again opposed to. Um, they want to extend the runway. They want to provide do a lot of paving over of prairie habitat, which is critical habitat for pocket gophers. And something that could be done there instead is there could be a lot of room for putting in solar collectors. And so you could put in a lot of photovoltaic cells, which wouldn't impact the gophers could live underneath it, or you could even do sheep farming, and solar collectors are actually something that goes hand in hand because the sheep keep the grass trimmed down, and they don't mind a little bit of shade. um, so I am against having an increase in air traffic at the airport because that would make it more it would be more um, noise and pollution for the people who are living there now. It would decrease the property value of the homeowners in the area and property owners in the area, and it's would be devastating for Bush Middle School, where the kids would be being subjected not only to more of the noise, but also because many of these small private planes are burning leaded fuel, that it's very toxic air quality as a result of the increase in the air traffic.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's it for my questions. I want to give you an opportunity just to tell us anything about that we would need to know about your campaign. And do you have a website yet for the campaign?
The website is unsold for port, all one word, .org. And
Okay.
unsold is UNSOELD. The
Okay.
E comes after
Unsold
the
for
O and
port.
before the L.
Can you repeat this? Unsold for port
.org.
.org. Okay.
And that will
Yeah.
go there, and you can find out ways of volunteering for my campaign. There's a link to contribute money to the campaign, and there's also the address, our PO box address, and phone number for the campaign manager.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for spending this time with us. We're going to finish our endorsement process the end of June, and then you'll hear from us after, we complete this. And thanks again.
Okay, well, and I apologize for having um, forgotten the email that I had received.
It's okay. I think we were able to salvage it. So,
Thank
uh,
you.
okay. Take care.
Okay,
Yeah. Bye.
bye.